Hi guys, how you doing? It's really good to see you guys again. It's Thursday. Let me just move my microphone so you can hear me properly. It's Thursday and it's Ranher Martin here from the Dinosaur Experience. Hopefully you're having a great week. I know we're having a really busy week, getting lots of interest at the moment, lots of birthday parties coming in, and all the summer camps are coming in. So I hope you're having as good a week as we are. Right, so we've got a great show for you tonight. We've got a really packed show. There's a lot going on. You're going to really like some of the things. But what I want to do first is just mention we are live at the moment. So you can either be watching us on Facebook, either my page, the Facebook group for the Dinosaur Experience for Kids, the Dinosaur Experience page. Also on YouTube, on Twitter, and I think we're even going to LinkedIn this week because I wanted to make sure that LinkedIn was working. Had a problem with it last week, so we're testing it on there. So thank you so much for you guys that are watching. I know where you're watching, it may not say that there's anyone watching or one person or two person, but there are like 8 or 9 different places where people are watching. So you're not on your own, I promise you. So if you wanted to say hello, you wanted to type something in, you can always use the chat box where you are. If you click the link there, I'm using your Restream. Hopefully that will give Facebook permission to let me know who's talking. If you don't want to click that, that's fine. But do say hello, type something in the comments there. Any questions you've got as we're going along. Or if you just want to say hi, just type your name in there, say, you know, your age, your name, where you're from, and we'll say hi at the end of the show like we always do. All right, now let's crack on because we've got a big show for you today. I want to tell you some of the things that we've got coming up. So we're going to start with Riddle of the Day. That's what we always do. Have a little question there to get us going. Then we're going to do the birthday shouts from this weekend. Moving into the Dinosaur of the Day, and we're looking at the Pyroraptor today. Okay, it's a new dinosaur. Lots of exciting stuff about the Pyroraptor. Then we have an interview. We've got Katie Parsons. Okay, now Katie is a paleontologist in training. Perfect for you guys if you're any interest at all of being a paleontologist or moving into that kind of field. Katie gives us a rundown of all the training that she's doing at the moment. And at the end there, she goes through some suggestions that would help you if you are thinking about paleontology as a career. So hang around for that. Katie really, really did a good job with that. And then we're going to have a look at the Dinosaur Experience on the web, and then we'll finish with the shout-out. So get your name, get your comments, and any shout-outs you want into the comments now as we're going through. and we'll get to them at the end and we'll say hello to everybody. Now, I wanted to mention, before we get any further, I wanted to mention this. This is happening on Sunday, the Homer Mardi Gras Parade, Sunday, February the 20th, if you're watching this on a replay. We are rolling out with the Crew of Titans, starting at midday, starting at 12 o'clock this Sunday in Homer. So if you're in the Homer area, we'd love to see you come along and say hello to myself. We'll have Nash there, we'll have Rexy there, and I'll be there as well. I'm really looking forward to it. Mardi Gras parades. All right, let's get on to the question of the day, the riddle of the day. This is something to get you thinking, see who's awake. All right, so here's the question. A man rode out of town on Sunday. He stayed overnight at a hotel and rode back into town the next day on Sunday. How's that possible? A man rode out of town on Sunday. He stayed overnight at a hotel and rode back into town the next day on Sunday. How's that possible? Have a think about it. There is an answer. If you think you know, put it in the comments and we'll come to it at the end of the show and we'll go through it. All right. Birthday shout-outs from this weekend. Had a fantastic weekend this weekend. 2 birthday parties. First one was Lucy. Lucy was 3 years old, and Lucy was in, let me just have a look. Lucy was in Hammond. We travelled to Hammond, had a great birthday there with her friends and her relatives. Really good seeing you, Lucy. Hope you had a fantastic birthday. The other birthday we went to this weekend was Beckham. Now, Beckham was 4. He's a real big dino fan. We had so much fun with Beckham and all his friends there. And that was actually held in Denham Springs, in Old Denham Springs, at the Rustic Room. Fantastic little party location for a small-sized party. Really, really nice location. And Beckham there was at the Rustic Room in Old Denham Springs, celebrating his 4th birthday. So to Lucy and Beckham, thank you so much for inviting the Dinosaur Experience. We love meeting you guys, and thank you for having us. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the dinosaur of the day. And I've chosen the Pyroraptor for a specific reason. The Pyroraptor is a brand new dinosaur. It's a very newly discovered dinosaur. We don't know a great deal about it, but the reason that we're going to cover it today is because it hit our screens last week with this. Okay, so this was the Jurassic World Dominion preview, and I've clipped a little bit here. I don't want to show too much and show it with the sound, because last time I did this, Facebook cut me off for copyright. So we've got a 5-second clip there. Let me just run it again so you can see. Now, this is the Jurassic World Dominion Pyroraptor. Really exciting. It's the first time that we've actually seen in a movie from Jurassic World, or that Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, a movie with a feathered dinosaur. So let's have a little closer look at this guy in the movie here. Here he is. These are the best shots we've got of him. It's all we have at the moment from the actual preview of the movie. And if you haven't seen that, go on YouTube after the show or tomorrow and look for the Jurassic World Dominion movie preview. It's a really good preview. It's about 2 minutes long. It's really exciting. Can't wait for the movie to come out. Anyway, let's have a look at the Pyroraptor. Isn't it looking cool? Okay, they've actually gone with the feathered dinosaur. We know these dinosaurs were feathered. We know the Velociraptor and the Pyroraptor and many other of the types of raptors and other dinosaurs had feathers. And it's the first time we've had the nod from the movies to actually make them a little bit more realistic. But how realistic are they? Well, let's have a look and see what we actually know, or some of the things that we think we know about the Pyroraptor. So here he is, the Pyroraptor olympius. Now, his name means fire thief of Olympus. Okay, so the first part means fire thief, Pyroraptor. Olympius means Olympus. Now, it was discovered, and we believe these animals lived in the southern area of France and northern Spain. Now, he got his name because the Pyroraptor, or fire thief, he got his name because his fossils were discovered after a forest fire near Mount Olympus. And that's where he gets his name from. in the Provence area of France, and it was discovered in 1992. So basically, there was a huge forest fire, and they were going through, the damage, and they realised that there were fossils, and that's where they found this guy, the Pyroraptor olympius. Now, there was only ever one specimen discovered. Okay, so as we've said before, dinosaur bones can be extremely rare, and for the Pyroraptor, we've only found one. In fact, we haven't found very much of it at all. These are the only bones or the only fossils that have been discovered about the Pyroraptor. We've got the second toe claw of the left foot, the equivalent of the right foot. A second metatarsal bone, that's a small bone that goes in the toe. The right ulna, which is the long bone in the right forearm, and they've found 2 teeth. So from these specimens that you can see here, that's all they've got. But they can judge and they can work out from those the fact that it's a different dinosaur, and they can work out what they think it may look like. And this is another artist's impression of what they believed the Pyroraptor may have looked like. Now notice here that it's a different colour. The Jurassic World one and the other one, they were in red. And I think the artists go for the red colour because of the name, the Pyro name. I did read earlier, I don't know if it's factual, but I did read earlier that they've proven that it actually couldn't be red. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I need to do some more research, but it's probably quite likely that it may have been not red, a different colour. So let's have a look at the size of him. Now, we know he was like a small predatory bird, a theropod, and he had enlarged claws on his feet. Now, we think those claws were probably used for hunting. That makes sense. That's what most of the carnivorous type raptors use their claws for. But it could have also been used to help it climb. Now you can see here the size of the guy. He's only about 1.4 meters long, and he believed that he had a long tail that would help counterbalance because he's got long arms. The paleontologists, the scientists, believed that he must have had a long tail, otherwise he'd have been falling forward all the time. So they've given him a long tail, long feathered tail. The other thing about him, he's about knee high. Okay, you can see here's a normal human here, and he's about knee high in real life, and that's about the same size as a velociraptor. Now, when you compare that knee high to what the movie is making him out, you can see they've exaggerated it a bit again. Okay, and that's okay. That's what movies do. Movies are there to attract people to watch the movies and to make it an exciting story. And if it brings people into the dinosaur world and lights the passion to make people paleontologists, that's fine. That's okay. As long as we understand when we actually look at the real things that they're actually slightly different. But movies are there to be entertaining. So it's okay that they get some things wrong. Well, isn't that incredible? That's the Pyroraptor. And can you imagine just finding those 5 or 6 very, very small bones, being able to construct the actual dinosaur, work out what it actually looks like? Now, there are very special people who do that sort of work, and we're lucky enough that I spoke to someone earlier in the week, Katie Parsons, and she does that sort of thing for a living. It's what she's training to do. She's in training to be a paleontologist, and it's a real exciting interview. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now, on the line, we've got Katie Parsons waiting to talk to us. Now, Katie is an amateur paleontologist, and she's currently working at the Tennessee Museum of Natural History, and she's very kindly offered to spend some time with us so she can tell us all about what she does. So, Katie, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Thank you. Katie, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on and helping these kids out, because they're all fascinated with dinosaurs and they're looking at a path possibly into paleontology. And so it's important that people like you can tell us all about it. So I've got a question for you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I am 21 years old. I currently attend Middle Tennessee State University. I'm going to be getting my degree in geology, which means I have spent 4 years studying our Earth and its systems, and I will finally be certified to talk about that this December. I also, as you mentioned, I work at the Earth Experience Museum of Natural History as a paleontologist. My 4-year anniversary of working there is actually coming up here soon in March. So I will have been working in paleontology for 4 years.
That's really cool. That's super exciting. So you say you work at the museum. Tell us what you do during the day. What's your day-to-day work? What do you do?
So I do a little bit of everything at the museum. I do front house gift shop sales. I take people on tours, but probably the most interesting parts of my work happen in the Paleo Lab. Now, the Paleo Lab is a part of the museum where we take fossils that we have found out in Montana or out in the field, and we clean them up and get them ready for display. So right now at the museum, I'm currently working on a big Triceratops femur, and a Triceratops femur is a Triceratops leg bone from about the thigh area. I also mostly work in fossil reproduction, making fossil casts. Now, fossil casts are replicas of real fossils, and they are so accurate that we can get all the itty bitty detail in the fossils into a safer to hold, very much lighter fake fossil.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. So you actually get your hands onto these real fossils. Now you said you're working on was it a femur bone? Did you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how long has it taken you to work on that particular bone?
So I think I've had this bone since May. Now, of course, like I said, I do a little bit of everything around the museum, so it has taken me a bit longer to get around on this project and find time to do it. But I've had it since I think May or June, and I'm still working on it. Fossil preparation and fossil cleanup takes such a long amount of time. Depending on the bone or what we're working on, it can take years to get
Wow.
a specimen cleaned up or a fossil cleaned up. So I am just now finishing putting all of the little pieces together, and we've still got to take the rest of the bone and sculpt in what's missing with clay.
That's incredible. So it's you're at about 6 months now, roughly. You've been working on this just one bone. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realise how long it takes to. People see the movies and they say, "Oh, we just dig this rock up," and then next minute they've got a completed fossil. Whereas this one bone on you, and it's taking you 6 months. And are you the only one working on this bone, or is there other people working on the same bone?
I'm the only one who's been working on this bone. If we have a project in the Paleo Lab, generally we don't work on other people's projects. It's a courtesy thing, and it's also so that we can keep track of who's working on the fossil, what they're using, because sometimes things happen in the Paleo Lab. Sometimes things break. Sometimes someone might accidentally use the wrong glue on a fossil, and we need to go back and trace who did it just so we can find out what was done and how we can fix the issue. So it's just easier to have one, maybe two people working on a project at a time, and we keep a log of this so we know what we've been working on and what we've been up to. So in case someone does pick it up, if we need to leave or someone else needs to take over, we know what we've been doing.
I see. So you've got like a chain where you can identify who's worked on it and what they're up to and what their thoughts. So do you note down any thoughts you've got as you go and that sort of thing? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we basically, yeah, we write down, what we use, what kind of glues we use in the lab, if we use any sculpting materials, what we use to clean up the fossil. Sometimes you'll use chemicals like acetone to dissolve away or get rid of or break down extra little sediment or dirt on the bone. So
I,
we
s-
need to keep a log of that.
I see. So this role you're doing at the museum, is it a paid role or is it a voluntary role?
So I started out as a volunteer, but I am paid now, and I've been paid for over 3 years.
Okay. And how did you get into that role? How did you get into that job?
So it's a really long story, and really the beginning of this goes back to all the way when I was 3 years old, because I have been obsessed since I was 3 years old. I used to tell all of my school teachers, I'm going to be a paleontologist. I'm going to be a paleontologist. And I grew up and I still really loved paleontology. So one day I was a junior in high school. I was in my third year of high school, and our local museum director, who's now my boss, came into the earth science class that I was taking, and he gave a presentation on the museum and the type of displays that they had. Asked anyone if they were interested in paleontology. I was the only one in that class who raised my hand. And that was how I found out about our local museum. And so I went to the museum with my family. I went home. I begged my family, please, we've got to go to this museum. There's a dinosaur museum in town. We've got to go to this dinosaur museum. And so they took me to the dinosaur museum, and I was 16 at that time, which is the minimum age, sorry, of volunteers for the museum. So I went to this museum with my parents. I was looking around, and when we were leaving, I was told about volunteer opportunities. So I looked at my parents. I said, I'm going to volunteer at this museum. And so I went a couple months after that and put in a volunteer application in March of 2018. And I started volunteering. I started day one in the casting lab making fossil replicas. I then branched out to giving tours and handling parts of tour groups. And then September of 2019, after I was accepted into college for geology, I was offered a paid role because I was officially in the earth sciences.
And that's cool. That's cool. So, and that's something we've heard before is to get your foot in the door, look for voluntary
Yeah,
positions. And that's, and then you get to know people. And as we've said last time, I think the last time I spoke to somebody, it's all about it's all about who you know as much as what you know. And that really
very true.
helps. So knowing what you know now, is there something you wish you knew before you'd started your career?
So the biggest thing I would say is if you're really interested in pursuing paleontology or geology, study hard in math and science,
Okay.
especially math, because I'm not good at math. I am really bad at math, but there is so much math involved in getting whatever degrees or certifications you need to do this kind of work. Um, and it's very possible. It's very possible to just pass by in these classes and get where you need to go. But don't let the math discourage you because I'm still bad at math. I'm in my last math class. I really couldn't tell you what we're talking about because I don't know. But definitely, if you're really interested in doing this in your future, study hard in math and in science, biology especially, because it is so intertwined with paleontology.
That's excellent advice. So really, it study hard at school. You got to learn your math. You got to. I hate math, and to be honest, there's not many people that I know that really enjoy math. But you've got to know it. It's a crucial part of the role, and just because you don't enjoy it, it's gonna be a part of the role that if you really want to be a paleontologist, you've got to know that stuff. So you've got to grit your teeth and get through whatever you don't enjoy and move on.
Oh,
That's good. That's a really good insight. So, do you have any exciting stories regarding your work? Anything that you wanted to tell us?
so most of that actually revolves around going out into the field. So we go out into the field for about 2 to 3 weeks every single summer in July, and we go to this ranch. And this ranch is huge. It's about 7 miles of land, all packed in together. And the rock formation there is called the Hell Creek Formation. It dates back to the late Cretaceous period when big dinosaurs like Ankylosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Struthiomimus, Triceratops, and probably most famously Tyrannosaurus rex were roaming the earth. So that's a lot of the stuff that we find out there. So we have a couple of established dig sites that we go to work on, and we also go prospecting. And prospecting in paleontology means that we go walk around this ranch or the desert area because you do tend to find a lot of fossils in drier areas. So we'll go walk around and we'll scan the ground for fossils and fossil bits. So I like prospecting, but I really like, and because like I said, I've been into this since I was 3. I grew up watching Jurassic Park where it opened with that big dig scene on the Velociraptor.
Uh-huh.
So I've always wanted to just sit down and work at one of those because I thought it would be cool.
Excellent.
So my first summer out, we went to this Triceratops site. So we already knew there was Triceratops material there. They had already found bits of a skull. So there was a skull out there. They found some vertebrae, which are backbones. And whenever I went out, this was my very first time out. I had no idea what I was doing. I was sat down on the ground, and there was a Triceratops rib sticking out of the ground. About half of it was out, and I was told, uncover the other half. So I sat down on the covered end. I had a friend sit down on the uncovered end and just work on clearing away extra bits of dirt. And it just kept going. And working in the field is super duper slow, which I'm an impatient person, but there's just something about not being on your phone and not having cell service that makes it go by so fast.
Hmm.
But whenever you're working on fossils, I mean, you could get 7 inches of bone uncovered in about 7 hours, which is what happened with me. But the more I worked at it, about on my third day of working on it, I got to the end of the rib and found another Triceratops rib underneath it, which is really cool because, let's see if I can get into camera. Triceratops is my favorite dinosaur. I don't know if it's, I know it's like the worst
I
angle
see. Oh, I
possible,
see
but
it. Yeah. So you got a
yeah.
Triceratops
Oh, there
tattoo.
we go. So I love Triceratops. Triceratops has been my favorite dinosaur since I was a little kid, and that was the first fossil I had ever found was another Triceratops rib.
That's so.
Um, Last year, I found a baby Triceratops toe bone at the bottom of the Triceratops site, and the ranch owner wants to keep most of that site together. So the stuff that we dig up on that site, she keeps it. We don't get to keep. But since it was at the very bottom of that mound, I got to keep it. So I got to keep the toe bone that I found.
Oh, excellent.
Uh,
Have you still got it?
I do actually.
That's so cool. That's cool.
I do. It's awesome.
Have you got anything to show? Have you got any fossils there that you wanted to show us?
Yes, actually. So I know earlier I was talking about just how accurate fossil replicas can be.
Uh huh.
Because sometimes people will come into our museum and they'll see our fossil replicas because we do make everything in house. And a lot of it we do put up for sale in our gift shop. And I hear a lot of people looking at fossil replicas and I can understand how it's really easy to look at them and go, oh well, they're not the real bone. It's not the real thing, but they don't realize just how accurate these things are. So I've got two things with me. I've got a Spinosaurus tooth. That's a real Spinosaurus tooth.
Uh huh.
And probably more exciting is this real Tyrannosaurus Rex tailbone. Now, this is so small, it would have been at the very tip of the tail. It's a little broken up, but it is a real T-Rex bone. So look at this. You can see just how many little pores are in there, all the little dips and divots and cracks and breaks in this. Now I made a mold of this sorry, not Triceratops, T-Rex bone. And basically what that means is I took the original fossil, I put it in a cardboard box that I constructed myself, and I poured silicone rubber on it. And the silicone rubber gets in every little deep crack and pore in the bone, and whenever you pull it out, it makes such an exact copy that it almost looks like the real thing.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at this, I mean, if you look at this, it's exactly the same.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's insane how much detail gets picked up. I mean, you can see all of the little details in this
Sure.
are the exact same. And then what I do once I have something like this is I paint it. It's kind of like the real thing. And it keeps and the cast replicas keep all of their detail. So it's pretty much like having the real fossil, except now everyone can have one. And I have the same thing here with my Spinosaurus teeth. I mean, you can just see how accurate that is.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to have one of those, where could we go to get those?
So I actually run my own casting business. If you go to Etsy and search Dynamite Replicas, you can find my store. So all of these are made from real fossils. I made all of the molds myself on my own time. I cast every single one of them myself. I paint every single one of them myself, and I ship them out directly to anyone who orders. I also have some real fossils on my Etsy shop as well. Some real fossil fragments from things that I have found out in the ranch over the summers that I go dig. So those are some real dinosaur bones. And I will also be adding a couple of new cast listings here in the next couple of weeks. So expect things like megalodon teeth, and ancient whale teeth, and hadrosaur bones, that kind of stuff. I'm always updating everything.
That's really cool. That's excellent. I mean, and those prices are very, very affordable.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to mark anything up higher than it has to be.
Sure.
I've accounted for everything in materials, but I believe that these should be shared with the world.
Hmm.
Everyone should have the opportunity to
Hmm.
have something like this in their hands,
Yes.
because there's only one of every fossil that we find. Of course, there are other specimens of the same species, but every fossil is unique. And I think it's important that we share this kind of stuff with the world.
Excellent. Well, thank you for doing that. And like I say, so let me just bring that up just one more time. So here it is, guys. It's Dynamite Replicas on Etsy. Now, if you were looking for that, you can find Catherine on Instagram at katie.diggs.dinos. So let me just bring up her Instagram page so we can all see that. Here we go. Here's Katie on her site there, wearing a mask. And
Gotta stay safe.
this is her Instagram page here, so you can see some of the stuff that she's done and her work. So you can get on there. Now, if you wanted to get to the shop, if you click on the link tree here, it'll bring up all the links, and then we've got the small business link there, and that'll bring up the shop. So that's how you can find Katie and her shop. You also mentioned the museum that you worked in. Let me bring that up. Here we are. So this is the earthscience.org website, which is the Tennessee Museum of Natural History. Am I correct?
Yes, yeah. This is the museum I work for. It's a privately owned nonprofit museum in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We currently don't have any funding behind it, so we are doing everything ourselves.
Okay. Now I did see that there was a dig going on in the summer. Does that happen every year?
Yes, so it does normally happen every year. You can contact the museum at our phone number or through our email on our website. We do allow people from the general public to come out and do dinosaur digs with us.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this year we are not taking on volunteers because we just partnered with the North Carolina Museum of Natural History to get our BLM land permit. This means that we can dig on government land. And there are a couple of spots in the ranch that we go to dig on. And there's bones that have been sitting at the surface level that we can finally get to and finally dig at. But starting next summer, you are more than welcome to come sign up for the museum dig. I believe that the minimum age for that is 16 years old, though, so you do have to be 16 years old. We stay in Glendive, Montana for a week at a time, and we will take you out to different prospecting sites so you can find fossils and take them home. You do get to take home most of what you find. You could work on the established Triceratops site that I was talking about. So if you want to work on that Triceratops site, you can sign up for the dig and come work on it.
Excellent. And just for the record, it's 2022 now. So if you're watching this in 2023, the summer, you'll be able to volunteer and go and do that on the website that we just mentioned. Just in case anybody's watching it in 3 years' time, they'll come along and you'll be a fully qualified paleontologist.
Yep.
Excellent. Was there anything else you wanted to tell us, Catherine? Anything you wanted to mention before we say goodbye?
Don't let anyone ever hold you back or tell you that your dreams are childish. I get told a lot that dinosaurs are for kids. Dinosaurs are absolutely not for kids. Dinosaurs are awesome and they're fun for all ages.
That's an excellent message. And my saying is, who cares? Who wants to grow up? If they're for kids, I don't care. You know, it's just a fantastic message, and thank you so much for sending that message to everybody out here. I wanted to thank you again for your time. I will put some links up for your Instagram and for your shop there, your Etsy shop. and we'll make sure that everybody can see those. So thank you very much for your time, Catherine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, wasn't that excellent? I think we should thank Katie very much, and I do thank you, Katie. Valuable insights for anybody who's considering becoming a paleontologist or going into that kind of field. It's actually, hands-on information there from somebody who's actually doing it at the moment, about a year away from qualifying, and how to help yourself in that career, some of the things to look for. Thank you so much, Katie. In fact, there was so much in there, it's kind of hard to get it all in. So how can we do that again? Well, what we've got now, I've got something new for you. We did announce it last week. We got our podcast now. What I'm going to do with the podcast is any interviews that we do that are relevant, I'm going to put onto the podcast. And Katie's one is actually live, I think, tomorrow. But I know some of you have already been on and downloaded. So our podcast, the Dinosaur Experience Podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Google Podcast and all the other major players. Please do search for it, the Dinosaur Experience Podcast. And please subscribe. It's really interesting to see. It's only been out a week, and we've had something like 100 listens already from all over the world. People in India, people in England, people in America, and a bit further afield as well. So thank you so much for that. But what I'm saying is, it's a really good place to get some more if you want to listen to that interview again, and more stuff. There's some other stuff on there that isn't on this show. All right, other things we can do, other places you can find it. We've got the Dinosaur Experience webpage here. If you go to more and then come down to where it says podcast, you'll find the podcast. Or if I click on here, TDE Kids Live Shows, I've clicked on there. These are where you can watch all of our broadcasts. So the broadcast we're doing at the moment is number 16. And that's going to go right here, and all of them will move down. So if you've missed a broadcast, if you think you're interested in this sort of thing, they're all here on our website. You can also find them on our YouTube page. We're now up to 64 subscribers. We were at 50-something last week. So thank you so much for subscribing. It really does mean a lot to us. When you find us, search for the Dinosaur Experience. You'll find us. Please do subscribe. Hit this subscribe button up here. Underneath my picture, and this is where you can find the Dinosaur Experience live shows. They're all here on the playlist, and also we've got Rexy's Tales here. If you are needing AR points, there's about 40 different books here that I've read to Rexy, who can be a bit mischievous sometimes, and you can listen to that, watch the video of me reading to Rexy, and then when you go to school, you can get your AR points. This is the Dinosaur Experience Facebook group for kids, the Dinosaur Experience for Kids. This is the page you want to join. So when you search, you'll find two. You'll find this one here, which is the Dinosaur Experience page. That's where we put up all the birthdays and any business stuff we've got going on. But this is the Dinosaur Experience page Facebook group. And you want to join this because there's a lot going on. This is where you can get your shout out. So if you want to shout out for this week's podcast, on this week's show, this live show, this is where you can put your name, and we'll do those later. Any announcements we've got going on. People have asked me some questions about birthdays, schools we've been to, the thing about Mardi Gras. So if you join the Facebook group, you can put your stuff on here straight away without having to come through anybody. So that's why we were just saying that that's a good thing to join. Finally, I just want to show this. These are all our tags for our social media. Actually, there's another one. LinkedIn isn't actually on there. I must add that for next week, perhaps. But if you're looking for us, the best thing to do, whatever you're looking at, look for the Dinosaur Experience. That's Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. Well, the one exception is Twitter, for some reason. Don't know why, but I'm under Ranher Martin there. And that's where you'll find us on Twitter. All right, guys, just quickly again, now we're starting to wrap up. I just wanted to mention the Mardi Gras Parade again. Don't forget, this Sunday, we'd love to see you guys there. If you're in the area, we're starting at 12 o'clock. We're riding out with a crew of Titans. We've got Nash and Rexy and myself, Ranher Martin. We're all going to be there. All right, so let's have a look. Let's have a look at some shout outs, shall we? Let me see. Bring up the comments. I'm not sure the comments are working. Do me a favour, guys. I'm not seeing anything at all. If you can hit the thumbs up or heart sign, and I'll see if that's coming up at all. But I don't think it is. And if you have put a comment in there asking for a shout out, I do apologise, but it doesn't seem to be working. But I have got some shout outs anyway. These are ones that came from the Facebook group, the Dinosaur Experience for Kids group. So I want to shout out Yasmin. Hello, Yasmin. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And also Samaya. Hello, Samaya. From me, Ranher Martin, thank you for watching. Rashid and Nadia. Okay, therefore, all together there. Thank you so much. Your mum, I believe, asked us to give you a shout out. So here's your shout out. Thanks for watching the Dinosaur Experience. Also, I've got Guy and Max Allinson. Mum got on here. So hello, Guy. Hello, Max. How you doing, guys? Hope you're having good fun. Hope you're enjoying the show. Do you love dinosaurs? Oh, I love dinosaurs. Well, thank you for watching, guys. That's Guy and Max Allison. And we really, really appreciate the fact that you're watching us. All right, let's quickly bring this up. The riddle of the day. Did anybody get it? I don't know because I can't see any comments, unfortunately. I've got to try and fix that for next week. But let me tell you the answer. Okay, so here's the question. A man rode out of town on Sunday. He stayed overnight at a hotel. And he rode back into town the next day on Sunday. How's that possible? Well, the answer is really simple when you think about it, when you get told the answer. The answer is his horse's name was Sunday. All right, so his horse's name was Sunday, and that's the answer to that one. Okay, guys, that's everything we've got time for. That's everything, all the show that I've got for you. Don't miss next week's show. You're going to love it. Okay, I've got a special surprise guest. We'll announce that later on in the week. We'll put something on the Facebook page. But you're going to love next week's guest. Another fantastic guest that's coming to spend some time with us and entertain us. All right, guys, so till next week, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. And if you do need to speak to us, you can find us on any social media. Just look for the Dinosaur Experience. So until next week, be good, and we'll see you soon. Bye.